For more
Absolutely.
on Trump's speech at the Libertarian Convention, let's bring in Associate Research Scholar and Lecturer in Politics and Public Affairs at Princeton University, Dr. Lauren Wright. Dr. Wright, good morning.
Hey, Nick, I've had so much fun with you the last couple of days. Thank you for having me.
I was trying to keep it professional. I love telling people that we go way back. Lauren, I love having you on the show, and it's so much fun talking to you because you just break it down and keep it so real. We don't often hear President Trump get booed often, but he still received a fair amount of clapping and screams. What does this mixed reaction actually say to you about his ability to win the Libertarian vote?
It's so interesting with Trump because it really is personality specific. One of the traits traditional politicians have is they kind of are able to throw to the side any criticism they get. They want to build a big coalition. Trump doesn't really have thick skin in that way. If someone boos him, his immediate retort is, let me punch back. And he kind of said, well, good. I hope you're happy with your 3% then if you don't come on board with me. That might not be the best way to get hardcore libertarians on board, but he doesn't have a ton of control over this. I mean, libertarians are more likely to join Republicans than Democrats in the end by a margin of almost 3-1. So some of them are more on board with him no matter what he says policy-wise, but he is not past going after them when they booed him.
Well, Lauren, in 2020, though, Biden won those key swing states by a few thousand votes each. What is Trump's strategy to win over libertarians or independent voters in those key demographics?
This is such an important point, Nick, because in 2016, libertarians got 3.3 million votes, the highest number ever. And then, in 2020, they only got 1.5% of the vote. So a lot of them actually did go to Biden after being upset about many Trump policies. And so actually, Trump has a lot of work to do to win them back. And he has to make the case that my administration's policies will be much more libertarian friendly than Biden's. And some of that is a tough sell.
And Lauren, two more questions for you quickly there. RFK also spoke to libertarians this week. Who did a better job delivering their message, Mr. Trump or RFK Jr.?
Well, RFK Jr. doesn't fall into the traps that Trump does. He doesn't, get into it with the crowd on a personal level. But, a lot of these voters, again, are highly informed. They know RFK Jr. used to be a Democrat, now is not. And so they're probably a little bit skeptical of him. But there's some natural fits there. I mean, being critical of COVID lockdowns is something libertarians probably side with RFK Jr. on more than Trump, who did a lot of lockdown policies and a lot of government stimulus that led to inflation. So it's tough to say, Nick, but Trump has the advantage. With that said, he definitely fell into the trap of getting into it with these voters.
And Lauren, so much we're reading and seeing says that, a lot of what the Biden administration is doing is that they're hoping that people will remember how bad things were under Mr. Trump. But that same study and research is showing that many young voters don't have that same connection with that piece of history that some of the older voters may. So speaking for this event for Trump, it's coming at the heels of an event that he did in the Bronx in New York on Thursday aimed at the Black and Latino communities. Is his message resonating with members of those communities that are frustrated by Mr. Biden?
Yes, but I think we make a big mistake when we lump too many voters together. And I think that's a little bit what Democrats tend to do. All voters are mad at Biden for the same reasons, and they're the economy, inflation, these prosperity-related reasons, and crime, safety, education, and immigration. And so Biden needs to understand that by just sending a specific message to a specific group of people, whether it's Black voters or women voters or young voters, he might alienate some people who are just mad about the same stuff that all Americans are. He needs to be really careful of that.
Dr. Wright, less than 30 seconds. Do you expect these numbers at these polls to loosen up, or will they get even tighter?
It really depends on the economy. That is the number one issue heading into October. What does the economy look like? And are voters willing to give Biden a break on it? If not, and things continue to be more expensive, then Trump has a leg up in the election and will continue to do so.
Yeah, and the Biden administration can't keep saying that inflation is down when people are not feeling it at the checkout lane. Dr.
Agreed.
Lauren Wright, thank you so much for joining us this Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.